talking ghosts. I've got Dan and Larry from the Ghosthunter, the Dan Norvell Project hanging out. So last week we had a lot of fun talking about Veterans Memorial Hall down in Rockford. And today we've got a couple of different locations we're hitting. First, let's talk about the first one we're going to go.
The first one we're going to talk about is Kellogg's Grove Battleground, and it's up outside of Freeport, kind of between Freeport and Stockton and unincorporated Kent. And we've caught a lot of stuff there for the few times that we've been there.
Okay, let's talk a bit of the history, first of all, of Kellogg's Grove and what it's all about.
Well, Kellogg's Grove is essentially 4 different mini battles and skirmishes that happened over the course of about 2 or 3 weeks. And then instead of having separate monuments, they just took basically the dozen or so that died and put it all in one place.
So the one thing that I started realizing since I've been talking with you guys and kind of looking over your stuff, you kind of got to do some history lessons if you're going to do some ghost hunting.
One of the best ways to put it is basically you need to know what happened to be able to ask the right questions.
Okay.
So, for example, let's talk about Kellogg's Grove. If I didn't know that, let's say, the Kellogg's Grove wasn't a part of the Black Hawk War, if I didn't know that, how would I know to ask questions about Lincoln or Black Hawk or Colonel Demet, who was one of the soldiers? You know, you need to know what you're talking about,
right,
to be able to correspond with them.
Yeah, you can't just go there and expect, hey, I'm here. Hi, how you doing?
Right.
Even though I'm sure it's happened before.
Well, and that's one of the things that's a big misconception is we do put out a lot of videos. You've seen our YouTube channel, and we've taken flack because there's not ghosts in every single one of them. If you look at the videos and watch them in their entirety, a lot of them are history lessons so that the next time I do go there at night, you already have a background on it.
Right. So let's talk about, so we got the background on Kellogg's Grove. Let's talk a little bit of what you've discovered there when you guys have gone out.
For Kellogg's Grove, the first time we went was January 2015. And unfortunately, that was back where we didn't have all the best equipment.
Right.
So we didn't really get a whole lot. We had one questionable EVP, electronic voice phenomena, where it said Kent, which was give or take the area, unincorporated Kent, where some of the soldiers could have been from. Right. They were local militia. So with that one, that was actually our first episode of Expedition Entity, our web series. And we've always wanted to go back because we knew if we go back with better equipment, we're going to get better stuff. And that's basically what happened. When we went back, we brought in new cameras, new audio equipment, the ghost box, thermal. We pretty much hit it with everything we had. And we got probably one of the best ghost box responses we've ever had. And I did give you that clip for you to play.
Right.
It's our quote-unquote fire clip.
and the video is up at the Eagle YouTube channel right now, so you can see that video clip. Because we tried to play something over the air. I think it was a little difficult last week. So what I did is I posted it up on the Eagle YouTube channel. There's a video of it. You can see the video and hear it at the same time, which is kind of, I think, is a better way to do it.
We always run video with any of our audio. Even if I have, let's say I have 3 audio sources in one video. If I have the audio from a recorder, I will put the audio from that recorder to the video.
Okay.
So that you always have something to watch while you're listening. Because otherwise you're just sitting there looking at a blank screen and listening. It's not as fun.
Right.
Luckily with the quote-unquote fire that we had, that came straight from the camera's audio. So I didn't have to do anything special, but...
What was cool about Kellogg's Grove...
And you can move that, feel free. Okay. You don't have to, you're not going to hurt it.
What was cool about Kellogg's Grove this time was we went out there on the anniversary of the battle.
Oh, okay.
So 188 years later, the very day that the last battle happened, we were there, and it was crazy. I mean, those are probably the best ghost box responses I've ever been part of. Yeah. When he put out the Expedition Entity, which came out right after your video last night, I called him on my way to work, and I'm like, Larry, how many responses did we have in there? Because there's like 13 to 14 responses. And he goes, oh, yeah, it was chock full.
Nice. See, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, one of my favorite responses wasn't one of the ones that I sent you, and I probably should have. Our sensitive Tessa and Dan, I think, were in the view of the camera, and they're talking, asking questions, and then it's kind of quiet for a second, and all of a sudden the ghost box spits out, truck. And that exact second, in the background, here comes a truck rolling up behind them. And I'm just like, wait, what? Wait, Oh, rewind that. Truck. There it goes. Wow.
But what was cool about that is that proves that there's an intelligent haunt out there, because it was aware that the truck was going by.
Right.
And you hear truck, and all of a sudden this truck goes behind us.
I'm talking to Dan and Larry from the Dan Norvell Project. So has there been anything anymore that will spook you? Or are you guys, are you're used to it and nothing really gets to you?
Actually, one of the Blackhawk sites that we were at, just outside of Rockford, down by the airport, I think we may have talked about this off the air last time. Larry played it at the Paranormal Conference a couple weeks ago. It is on our YouTube. Larry likes to call it the freak out video. I did actually see, we were over the Kishwaukee River where the Kishwaukee meets up with the Rock, and we were going to do a ghost box session. I happened to look down, and there's a guy walking across the top of the water.
That would freak anybody
so
out.
you guys can watch it and enjoy it and critique it and comment and call me what you will. It was weird.
Unfortunately, not very much makes me jump.
Right.
But I'll be the first to say that loud noises such as air conditioners or furnaces or something like that will make it happens.
You're not expecting it, and boom.
You got to remember, like, when I'm watching a video, I'm so focused on the screen of the camera.
Right.
I'm making sure it all framed up right. A lot of times I have one earphone in, listening to make sure it sounds right. I'm not expecting a really loud noise to come on.
Yeah.
Like at the Vets Hall, when we did our episode, one of the clips in there, Dan is in his solo session, and I don't know if I actually put this clip in the episode or not.
You did.
Okay, I did. So Steve and I are on the bench away from him, so he's by himself, but we're close enough in case anything happens, he freaks out again. We can come over there. And it's like the compressor for the furnace or something. Some kind of compressor just instantly starts up.
Right.
And you can see the camera go, whoop, and just jumps. And I'm just like, oh.
That's awesome, because it shows that, hey, this is happening and this is what we're doing. I have Dan and Larry from the Ghosthunter, the Dan Norvell Project. We're talking ghosts. Each Friday they're going to come in and share some different paranormal activities going on in our area. We started out with Kellogg's Grove. Now where are we headed?
Now we're going to go to Stillman Valley, Illinois, down to what is called the Battleground Cemetery. And the Battleground Cemetery, the men who are buried there were actually massacred there on that site and put into a mass grave.
Okay.
So that was back in 1832. They actually dug them up in 1899 and actually reinterred them as best they could.
Okay.
Underneath the gravestones that are there. There's 12 gravestones there, but only 9 bodies.
Okay.
So back in those days, the Indians mutilated, beheaded, scalped, disemboweled. It was very, very brutal, and that was kind of their way of psychological warfare.
Mm-hmm. For
the rest of the militias, you chase us down, this is what's going to happen to you if we catch you.
Right. It was a dangerous time back then.
Absolutely. So in Stillman Valley, we have caught some of the best stuff that we've ever caught. There's a picture that we've put up. We caught in UV, and we believe that is Captain John Giles Adams. And he was one of them. There was only 2 of them that were beheaded. He was one of them that was beheaded, which leads us to believe that it's Captain Adams because you only see his head.
Right.
The other reason we believe it's Captain Adams is because and I know you've seen the picture, he kind of looks like Wyatt Earp.
Right, yes.
He would have been the only one to have to adhere to military grooming standards because the rest of them were militia.
Okay.
So he's got a real clean mustache.
Mm-hmm.
He's got kind of a real clean haircut, to where the rest of the militia would have had scruffy beards. They would have put their hair into a ponytail and said, let's go.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. What else have you guys found out there? Because you've been there a few times, right?
There's one ghost box response we have. This was actually in the course of doing the research about the site for our book, Ghosts of the Black Hawk War, that's coming out next summer. We were kind of back and forth because in a lot of the research, there's one or the other. Sometimes they call it Kite River, sometimes they call it Old Man's Creek. Well, Kite River is down in Oregon. Old Man's Creek is just north of Stillman. So you're going back and forth trying to piece all these different puzzle pieces together. And one of the responses we had, Dan basically goes, did you guys get slaughtered over here or was it over by the creek? And immediately the response was over by the creek.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for a ghost box, it's not supposed to do that. It's only supposed to spit out one word at a time. It's one word answers. It's running in reverse on an AM frequency at midnight. Not a whole lot going on the AM frequency at midnight.
Right.
So when you get multiple words strung together as if someone's saying, hey, it's over by the creek, that's a little weird. It's not supposed to do that. And when it does do that, it's like, I think we got something here.
Right.
So with that response, we started doing more research, come to find out that it does sound like Old Man's Creek was the most likely location. Old Man's Creek is, 100 feet north of the Battleground site? Mm-hmm. So that response now corresponds with the research we have.
Okay. Huh. That's interesting. It's funny how it all pieces together. I know, it's October and Halloween's just around the corner, and this is the time of year where people really get into it. Kind of like now and probably Friday the 13th. People are really, if someone wants to go out somewhere and try to run into some ghosts or paranormal activity, and they don't have all the equipment, is it worth even going to do something or go somewhere?
Absolutely. I mean, you can download apps onto your phone, and I'm not talking the ghost apps. I'm talking the voice recorder.
Okay.
You can take a regular digital camera and just start flashing off pictures at night. You don't need to have anything special to catch stuff.
Okay.
So anybody can do it. Our biggest concern with the Battleground and Kellogg's Grove and all the other cemeteries that we're going to talk about the rest of the month and that we have talked about is do no harm. Don't go in there and start kicking over stones.
Right.
Don't, especially at the Battleground or Kellogg's Grove, because those are federally recognized historical sites. You will be charged federally for that.
Right.
Bloods Point Cemetery in 2010 sustained $8,000 worth of damage.
Okay.
And so that's kind of why we do get reluctant sometimes about telling people about spots, because kids think, hey, if I kick over their gravestone, they're going to come out and be ticked off at me, and that's not how it works.
No,
the sheriff's going to come out and be ticked off at you.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get arrested and a fine, and you don't want that. So the good thing about this is all of your adventures, you've got video, you've got audio, you've got pictures and everything, and it's all on the internet for people to check out. So where are the best places for people to look for all this stuff right now?
Probably the best place is either Facebook, which kind of contains all the pictures, or YouTube, which has most of the video. You can find us live on Facebook, sometimes numerous times a day, depending on Dan's work schedule, unfortunately. Sometimes he works 13 days in a row, and he doesn't live stream for a day or two. But our website, which is ghosthunterdannorvell.weebly.com, has basically, it's newly formatted. Basically, you can go to it and look for all of our stuff there. You have individual links for different photo albums, different videos based on where the location was. And we're still compiling that. And, you'd think after 10 years, you'd have a lot of locations, and we really do.
Right. And there's some really interesting stuff because I've been there's a lot of stuff on there. So, I've been slowly going through it. And as each week we go to a different place, I've been going on there. So go investigate it. There's so many good things. Maybe it'll help you believe. Maybe it'll change your belief about it, but who knows? Yeah. But just give it a chance. It's cool to check out. It's Larry and Dan from the Ghost Hunter, the Dan Norvell Project. Thanks a lot, fellas.